Hello everyone, it's me again, Young Monster 3, and what do you know, it's time for yet a new video. And this is actually like a new idea that I came up with. I'm actually gonna make not a top list, but like films that have been released on DVD, not DVD, films that have been released on VHS that have never gotten like a DVD or Blu-ray release. So for any of you companies out there like Vinegar Syndrome, 88 Films, and yeah, whatever, take note because these films are like movies that are pretty much stock in VHS that I would love to see on DVD or Blu-ray. So yeah, what do you know? Let's begin right away. And the first film that I have right here in front of me that I want to see on DVD or Blu-ray is a film called Terror on Alcatraz, I believe it's called. Let's see what it says on the back. Yeah, Terror on Alcatraz. This is a slasher film from 1986. And it's actually a film that to be fair, I didn't care too much about. But then again, I think it might have been just because the VHS is pretty darn old, and I mean some of those like darker scenes just turns out to be really crap when you watch it on like a VHS tapes from every now and then. But this one is actually one that I would really love to see on DVD or Blu-ray. Sometimes that actually makes a difference when you watch a film like on a DVD or Blu-ray instead of like a pretty like crappy like VHS copy. But yeah, Terror in Alcatraz, it's quite unique for being a film that takes place in Alcatraz. I don't think there's that many other slasher films that takes place on this place. So, but yeah, that's one of the films that I want to see on DVD or Blu-ray. And the next one is the film called Iced, which I am still very confused that this still doesn't have a DVD or Blu-ray release. This really feels like something that I can see like Vinegar Syndrome release at some point. But this is yet another slasher from the 80s. From 1988, I believe. I'm not really sure if it says that on the back, but yeah, 1988. So this is pretty much like famous for the very last scene because of how ridiculous and stupid it is. But that scene is so hilarious and creepy at the same time because it doesn't make any sense. The death scenes are quite fun if I remember correctly. I mean, it's not like the best slasher out there, but I mean, for what it is, it's actually a pretty darn entertaining film. So I'm still confused as to why this still doesn't have a release, so like a DVD Blu-ray release. So yeah. And the next one is the film called Midnight Ride, which you could sort of argue, is this really like a horror film or more like an action thriller type film? It actually says on the back of this VHS that it's more of an action thriller, but I still would say it still has enough horror elements to it to make it like a horror film. This has Mark Hamill and Michael Dudikoff in it. And Mark Hamill plays like the real like psycho in this one. This has a whole lot of similarities with let's see, it has a whole lot of similarities with like The Hitcher, you know, the original one with Rutger Hauer from the 80s. So it's sort of like the 90s version of that. And yeah, for some reason I've never seen this pop up on DVD or Blu-ray. Not really sure why. I mean, some of those, because this is like a Canon production, like you can probably see right here. Yeah, some of those like Canon films seems like they're just stuck on VHS, so I'm not really sure why, but yeah, whatever. Midnight Ride. Then we have another one which is quite obscure actually. I mean, then this you could also kind of like argue, is this really a horror film or is this more of an action film? It actually says action right there on the front cover because it's like most of these are like old rentals. And this one is actually pretty much like a rip-off on the Predator film. And that's another thing, like some people say that the Predator is like a horror film, and some people say it's like a horror theme, not an action-themed horror film, you can say. This is sort of the same category. This is a complete other rip-off of that one. This came out in the early 2000s, I believe. Let's see if it actually says it on the back. It was made in 2000, but I don't think it was released until 2001. Now this is like a made-for-TV film, so maybe that's the reason why it's just been like so many films that have been made for TV are kind of like gone at this point, which is really sad. But I mean, even though it's a rip-off type of film, I think this is really entertaining and really enjoyable for what it is. So if you do like Predator and you like want to watch a more cheapo type of version of that, go give this one a watch. I remember I watched this on TV back in the day, and I was constantly thinking, what was the name of that damn film? And yeah, Code Red, The Rubicon Conspiracy was the name of that. So yeah, so this is yet another one I want to see on DVD or Blu-ray. And then the last one is this one, Rejuvenator. Which is sort of like this is going to sound really strange, but you know about the new Substance film that came out like quite recently. This almost feels like the original of that. It has a similar type of storyline to it, but I mean, obviously this was made in the 80s, 1988, I believe. 1988 is a great year for horror. So, yeah, this is yet another one that I would love to see get a release. I mean, I think this is actually, and once again something that I can see like Vinegar Syndrome release, or maybe H8 Films at that point as well. Yeah, really great film. Would love to see a DVD or Blu-ray of this. So yeah. And I'm gonna throw a bonus one right in here as well. This is actually an American release. I've never seen this film myself, obviously, because it's still brand new and sealed. But this is like I believe this is like a full moon film, and everywhere I look, it seems like there's no DVD or Blu-ray release of this one either. Might be an old Region 1 release of this one, I'm not really sure, but I've never come across one for sale anywhere. Yeah, I really like this cover art. I think there was yet another film called The Sandman, which came out around the same time, because this is like from the mid 90s, I believe, 96 according to the back of this VHS. But yeah, that's pretty much about it. If you like this particular video, I might make another one of those videos where I talk about, and this is specifically like horror films. I might make a random one with like random titles and like action films, drama films, whatnot that have never been released on DVD or Blu-ray. But yeah, whatever. If you like this video, thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to. I'm not going to force anyone to subscribe. Yeah, we'll see if this turned out to be good or not, because I'm making this with my phone, and yeah, because I mean with the iPad we would just be really clumsy, so yeah, that's the reason why. But anyway, hope you enjoy this particular video, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.